next Trump. Short story by Daddy Cucumber. My day with Putin. Mr. President, Vladimir is waiting for you, said one of the men standing before me. I thanked him and walked into the room. Today was the day I was going to meet Mr. Vladimir Putin, a man I've been in love with for months now. My total average-sized hands shook as I walked into the room, and I saw him. His balding hair complemented the stone-cold eyes that I longed to get lost in. His toned-up muscles were threatening to escape his gorgeously tailored suit. Hello, Mr. Trump. I have been waiting to meet you, Putin said. His accent was sexy. It was evident that through the small bulge in my dark blue suit, President Putin, I said, holding out my still very average-sized hands to him. He shook it, and I almost groaned in delight of how firm of a shake it was. Yet it felt like holding a cloud. I was alone with the man I've always dreamed of being with. There was a short silence in the room, which made me grow nervous. I could not let this man look down at me. Your nuclear, the best in the country, I blurted out. Putin seemed to blush for a moment, yet his expression stayed neutral. Thank you, President Trump. You are a very good businessman. I've just known to be allies with you will be my greatest accomplishment, he said. It was my turn to blush, but somehow I was paralyzed. Putin nodded slightly. Shall we take a walk? I do not like this stuffy office. It would be much easier if we were outside, don't you agree? He asked. Still shook, I nodded and followed him into the back. Putin took me to a small barn a couple of feet away from his office. I come here to think and ride my horses as I make life-threatening choices for my country, he said, as he walked inside. I followed him in and looked at the horses. These horses are wonderful, pretty horses I've ever seen. Prettiest horses I've ever seen. I can't read today. I exclaimed as I looked at Vladimir. The man chuckled softly. Yes, they are lovely, he said. I walked up to the chocolate-colored horse, petting its soft mane. Who is this? I asked, looking back at Putin. Ah, this is my prize-winning horse. She is a beauty, he cooed. Putin took her out of the stall and into the open. As Putin hopped onto her back, I could only watch in awe. He took off his suit jacket, and shirt, revealing the hard abs I fantasized about countless times. Putin must have noticed my staring, because he held out his hand. Ride with me, he said, his voice in a low whisper. I was shocked. Was I dreaming? Where is Milena? To wake me up. With you? I asked, my whole body about to explode in pleasure. He let out a low chuckle that could make ice melt. Of course, Donald, he said. I blushed and took his hand, hopping onto the horse. Vladimir started the horse, and like that we were off. Wind mingled with my thin golden locks. I held onto Putin's toned torso as we rode. I was in heaven as we rode quickly through the field. No CNN or MSNBC in sight to ruin this perfect evening. Finally, he stopped and I raised a brow. Why'd you stop? I asked him. He didn't respond, but quickly he put his tender lips against mine. I was surprised, but not hesitant as I pushed my thin but somehow plump lips against his. We kissed for what seemed like days. He took off my jacket and my shirt. He rubbed my hips as I did. We finally stopped, but only to break for air. Putin, I started, but was cut off by his tender shush. Do not ruin the moment. Vladimir Putin, he said softly. He pulled me closer. For years I have been watching you from your tower, hoping that one day we could meet, he said. From the moment I saw you, the apprentice I knew. The moment I saw you on The Apprentice, I knew I had to have you, he said. I was shocked. Putin wanted me all this time? Putin, Call me Vladimir, my love, he corrected. I nodded. Vladimir, I've always wanted you, too. From the moment I became president, I knew I had to have you, he finished. I nodded, stroking his cheek. No one could learn about this, I said. He agreed. I have ways of keeping people silent. No one will know, he said. I cracked a smile. Let's keep writing. I hugged him. He kissed me passionately and nodded as we rode off, my arms around his waist. He was my Russian affair.